we're finally actually seeing different places. It's not just like, oh, let's go back to Tatooine.
Tatooine? Is this
Tatooine or Tatooine? What is it? Is
I
it
think
Tatooine?
Tatooine is what it is.
Tatooine, but yeah.
Nope, it's Tatooine.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and I'm joined as always by Jonathan Watkins.
Hello, hello.
And Danae Hughes.
Still freaking out.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. It'll probably last forever, Danae.
It might.
It really is kind of a singular experience that not many people get to have, where they have an entire conversation with somebody that is like a hero of theirs, and then don't even know it until the last few seconds of the conversation. Like that doesn't.
And now you're best friends.
Yeah.
Now you're best buds.
They've already planned Christmas together, and
Yeah. It's really amazing.
No, Scott's been so nice on social media though.
Yeah,
like
he's a good dude.
He followed me back on Instagram and has been commenting and Twitter. So
that's fun.
I think whenever I show up at his Hobbit hole, he'll be okay with that.
In case you're not aware, this is last week's episode. If you haven't listened to it, the director of Animal Crackers came on to talk about the movie. And it just turns out he also wrote one of Danae's favorite webcomics as she was getting into webcomics back in the day. So that was a lot of fun. I'm glad for that moment. We will always have that. And it's nice we have that recorded forever.
Yeah.
Danae, isn't that fun?
I know. It was fun to listen back to it and kind of go, well, that happened.
Oh, hey, I wanted to show you guys something, by the way. I just thought about this. It has nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to show you. Can you see that?
Oh, you're wearing your Christmas shirt.
Nice. You got your ding, ding, ding.
That wasn't even intentional.
We should mention that too before we get too much further in. Is that cool?
That's
Mr.
fine.
Dicer?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of last chance, right? Because this will be out like 2 weeks before Christmas. So yeah, if you want some Christmas merch from the Sin store, now is the time.
I don't know what the cutoff date is. I got mine in about a week.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It does get busier as we get closer to Christmas. Their shipping for Teespring slows down. So if you want to have your Merry Dingmas shirt, which is, I know we talk about it in the promo that you guys hear, but
or hoodie,
yeah. If you want to get that before Christmas, you're going to want to order it soon, but we will have it for sale through Christmas. So if you have extra Christmas cash that you want to spend on it, you can do that. It is a one print shirt. Once this season's done, we're not going to have this one again. So it's kind of a limited edition merch option. And yeah, you can get it at our store by going to the store link at cinemasins.com.
That'll do it.
Are we allowed to say that we're going to probably do more? Like, because that was kind of my understanding, right? It's going to be like a collector's thing. That's kind of why I bought this one. Because I'm like, well, crap, now I got to buy them all.
Yeah.
That collector's mindset. It haunts us all.
Yeah.
I also have a behind the scenes shirt now, and I was wearing it the other day, and my daughter was like, is that supposed to be you? She liked it though. She was a fan. She thought it was great.
Dad, are you on your own t-shirt? Because that's weird.
I feel like this all kind of annoys her sometimes. I remember Bill Hader told a story about, like, he has to warn his kids that he's doing a voice in a movie before they watch it, or they get really irritated with him. And they went and saw Finding Dory, and he's like in the first scene, and he hadn't told them, and he thought it would be cool. And his like 4-year-old daughter or whatever just walked out of the theater, and then he went out there and he said she was basically like, "Didn't we talk about this?" Like, isn't this?
Oh my God.
But I think that would be weird to like hear your dad. That would just be that's got to be an odd thing. I'm not Bill Hader, but
I follow The Rock on Instagram and he's fantastic. I love his stories with his little daughter who doesn't believe that he is Maui.
Oh, right. From Moana. Yeah.
So fun because they'll literally be watching it and he'll be singing along and she's like, stop, I'm listening to Maui. He's like, I am Maui.
That's me. Yeah. Fun times.
Oh, he's so good in that too. So good.
It's great stuff.
Yeah. So grab your merch. Jonathan's right. We are going to be doing more of these. Each year we'll release a Christmas shirt. And I definitely have been teasing what it could be next year in our promo that's been airing here on BTS. So
there you go. All right, let's move into the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sinning them, how we felt about the stuff we are sinning in general. Continuing on with the Mandalorian run, doing a little Insta-sin for the new season. And this was the episode called The Heiress, I believe episode 3 of season 2. This was a Dicer Hughes script. Danae and I wrote on this one. So, man, every episode that comes out, I continue to fall more and more in love with this show. And it's just hitting all the right marks for me. And I'm digging it.
I really am as well. I am caught up. Well, I haven't watched today's, but I did finally watch the intro of Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu.
Can't wait to talk about that in a couple of weeks because I have a rant about why that pisses people off. I just don't get it. But
I think we're probably on the same page. I don't know where Danae is, but we can go ahead and just say this now. I'm pro Grogu. I am pro Goo. I think it's fine. I have no problem with it.
I told Danae and Barrett, if we're gonna accept Yoda, Jabba the Hutt, Boba Fett, like what is Grogu? I mean, what does it matter? I mean, if you think about it, Han Solo's a silly name, but like we've accepted it. It's just it just became part of lore. Mm-hmm. So I think this will just become part of pop culture, just like everything else. It is going to be hard to get off the Baby Yoda, Baby Yodes, which I prefer that you guys made up for some of the scripts, but. But I'll get there. I'm pro Grogu for sure. And he's so cute. Like when he says his name and then he looks at him, it's beautiful.
We are getting ahead of ourselves, but I guess it's okay because we will get there eventually. But
this episode I really enjoyed. As Barrett has been talking about side quests, I thought this was a really fun side quest. And I love Katie Sackhoff. I'm a huge Katie Sackhoff fan. I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan. She was on 24 and I've just always really liked her. So she was on that really cool Bionic Woman show that didn't last very long, the reboot. But so it was really cool to see her. And I think she just fits in Star Wars so easily. Like that just makes perfect sense. So I hope we get to see her again.
Bo-Katan, right? Is who she's playing?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think she voiced Bo-Katan in the cartoon in Clone Wars.
Oh, interesting.
So they brought her as the voice to the real life. I thought that was really cool because
this is the voice.
Lots of times that doesn't happen, but yeah, they decided to do that. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, in this episode, it's the shocking moment when the Mandalorians show up and they take off their helmets. And we kind of, I guess, have a moment where we're realizing that possibly our Mandalorian could be from a cult.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of like okay, could be something going on here.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, I feel like that's kind of like you have for instance, I grew up, Church of Christ. Well, I didn't grow up Church of Christ, but I went to Church of Christ school. And it was interesting to see like the old style Church of Christ versus like what, like there is music sometimes now and, stuff like that. So this kind of felt like a religion thing to me where you've got people that are still very much, they're part of that culture.
They call it,
but they've evolved. I don't know if evolved is the right word because I'm not saying you haven't evolved if you still want to follow older guidelines, but I
couldn't tell if it was that or if it was a cult, if it was an offshoot. It almost felt to me more like it was like, not that he was like old school religion and they were like new school religion, but more like the religion itself was just an offshoot of, Mandalore.
I gotcha. Like but Southern Baptist versus Baptist.
Yeah, like he's a child of the Watch. Is that what it was? Well, I can't remember what they called it.
They said that it was a sect that broke off to reignite the old ways. I think. Okay,
so there may be a little bit of both.
Yeah. I'm gonna trust you. It's been so long since I've watched this.
Me too. No, don't trust me.
Sorry, guys. I can hear all the fans going, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?"
But I'm never gonna please Star Wars fans. I'm just. I've given up on that goal.
One of the interesting things that's happening to me as I'm watching Mandalorian is not being able to see someone's face means that we are always going to be able to project how we think the Mandalorian is feeling under the mask. So my version of how he's responding to their masks coming or their helmets coming off and then working with them at the very end of this episode saying, this is the way. And to me, I get to interpret that as him kind of saying, we'll work alongside each other. Maybe we're all Mandalorians together. Like, I get to say that, but somebody else might have interpreted that as like a slight.
Right.
So because we're completely lacking facial expression, it's just a very interesting way to watch a show. And then we're experiencing, again, we're fast forwarding, like with the Grogu thing, it's a similar thing, right? Where we got to kind of do whatever we wanted to with this character. And then there's a definition that comes. And of course, there's going to be disappointment in that. So it's very good. It's a very interesting experiment for me as a viewer, because I'm not used to.
There's also the thing that we continue to talk about that streaming services choose to do differently depending on the service, of drop it all and binge it or go week to week. And that handles these kind of moments differently. If you're binging the season, you only have, a couple episodes to deal with, these things, and then maybe you'll get answers. And so there isn't that reaction that we have on the week to week thing. Yeah. So it's both the positive and negative of that week distance of people can get upset because it didn't go the way they wanted, but it's also that thing of everybody's talking about it, right? Like everybody's trying to figure out, what does it mean? What, so where are we going next? Like that kind of thing. So I don't know. I find all that really interesting, to kind of decide what's the better way to release these seasons of shows.
I like week to week. Personally.
I do too. Yeah. I think that's how I lean.
I think I do too. I mean, because even when they drop them, like I tend to watch them. I don't tend to watch them all at once, even if they are dropped that way. Like Queen's Gambit, I watched that not week to week, but I think I watched one like every few days because I just kind of wanted to let it. I don't know, because it was like, especially with something like Queen's Gambit, it's like I kind of like to soak the episode in a little bit, right? Before I just jump to the next one. Yeah. My wife, I know, doesn't have that ability. Like if it's all there, she's just going to watch all of it, which is why we end up not watching a lot of shows together. We're very different in that way. Yeah. Unless it's a week to week, and then we watch some of those together. But I agree. I'm 100. I've always been week to week.
Yeah, I think me too. Let's get into the video part of it. Jonathan, why don't you kick us off since you didn't write on it? What are some things from the video you wanted to chat about?
I also I couldn't remember when I was rewatching it for this, if I had watched it or not, if I had written on it or not, if Aaron hadn't sent it.
Yeah.
And then we have to assume that Aaron's right. So,
no, that is a very dangerous thing to assume, but continue.
Mando-splaining. I don't know how we hadn't done that yet. Was he born with a heavy case of, who came up with magnet ass?
That was a combine, right? That was.
So I said, is there a magnet on, like, I think I put the word magnet in mine, but then Aaron turned it into magnet ass, which is great.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. How it worked.
So I think mine was a little more clunky and his was more clever. And so we just kind of massaged that one.
Oh, Danae.
But here's the thing. Like, there is a seatbelt behind him.
Right.
And
sometimes he's in it.
Sometimes he's in it. Sometimes he's not. And then I'm like, is he using the force to stay in his seat? What is happening here? He should be flinging around, but he's not. So,
honey, where's Liam?
I have that one written down too.
Pronoun gaming your own Easter eggs was a great way to put that. And who was taking notes, because that was a lot.
It was, man. That was a lot of exposition.
It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
I also enjoyed Cream of Offspring Soup. I thought that was really funny. That's a lot of alien buttholes to accommodate for thinking about restrooms across the universe. I'd never considered that before.
Thank you for helping all of us have to stop and pause and consider that.
Listen, all these aliens, they're all different. Why do we all assume they can just sit down and, evacuate in the same way that we do? I don't know.
You're not wrong. Yeah. You really are not wrong.
The grabbing a man's chowder hose without explicit consent. The planets with only one sun and making that a sin when your planet only has one sun. Calling them Blue Mando Group, I enjoyed. And then treating strangers like grandparents made me laugh quite a bit as well. I thought that was good. Danae, did you have any you wanted to add?
It came from a real place.
Yeah, right?
Me, I'd be like, Mom, Dad, I got to do something. Can you watch my kid?
Yeah.
I think the ones that I enjoyed on this one were kind of just like pointing out the Mando turning into a fuddy-duddy and not being able to fight back or not
Right.
being able to rescue the child himself when we've seen him go into the mouth of a dragon and without fear. So what is it about the water? Like, why can't he swim down and do exactly what
Right.
the other Mandalorian does? And I think it was an interesting, I mean, obviously it's a choice for the story to show
Sure.
that he, needed help. And I understand that, but I like just like he needs no air. He's Mandalorian. He needs no air. Pointing out that the Mama Core would have to poop out the Beskar. So what was the plan to get the Beskar?
Mhm.
And then also the cable knit sweater and how that would not work well with those very spiky arms.
It's a good thought. It's definitely a good observation. Yeah, it's fun taking on these Mandalorians.
I didn't mind that the fishing village looks like a fishing village. And even cable, like the whole knit sweater thing, it's a very Fisher Village situation.
It's a very main thing. Like it's a very northeast kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's understandable. It's going to keep you warm. And as you're looking around, obviously it's an actor that has their arm in like claw sleeves. So they put on a sweater and then they put on the claw sleeves. But then when you think about it practically, that sweater should be so much larger to accommodate the arms. So, fun stuff like that. Again, though, I love the environments that these guys are going to. We just get to go see so many different places. And I really enjoy. I really think that's
and
it's a trip around the world.
We're finally actually seeing different places. It's not just like, let's go back to Tatooine. Let's see what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Tatooine?
Tatooine. What is it?
I think Tatooine is what it is.
Tatooine, but yeah.
Nope, it's Tatooine.
Hey, listen, that would be very painful. Tattooed weenie. I'm just saying that would.
You'd be surprised what people do.
Oh, I'm sure.
Don't Google that.
I'm sure people.
I'm never going to Google that. I would not get a tattoo weenie, but I still keep trying to and right now I would not go to a tattoo parlor with COVID, but I still keep wanting to get my daughter's initials or something on my shoulder or something. But
sure,
I'm scared. I'm scared of needles.
And
heat.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. Let's move on to Walking Dead World Beyond. Yes.
Yay.
A Walking Dead spinoff. This was a Dicer Watkins script. Jonathan and I writing on this and not subjecting Danae to any of the Walking Dead universe.
Although she probably would have been fine with this one.
Absolutely. There was a little bit of zombie grossness, but
nothing happened in this episode.
It's so bad. This isn't.
I hate to make. Go ahead. Sorry, you go first.
No. I was just going to say it's a really interesting one to do because it is a brand new show and we're sitting the pilot, right as it happened.
And this was originally supposed to come out closer to when the first episode aired, and then just stuff happened and it had to be pushed. But that was kind of why we did it for people that are like, "Why did you do this? I didn't know this show existed." And I saw all those questions.
I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed doing it.
Oh, sending it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No. And, and it's fun to get these when they first happen, but, and we knew nothing about this really going in, or I didn't. And even when I tried to look up stuff on it, it was all very much just people being interviewed and given the usual, we're excited to do this and blah, blah, blah. But, I usually I don't know. I hate making this, comments like this, but this is the worst pilot I've seen in a long time.
It's rough. It's really rough.
Has to be.
It's really rough.
But it was so bad. It wasn't so bad it was so good, but it was so bad. I was almost tempted to keep watching the show because I was like, where is this going? But then at the end, it kind of felt like, oh, it's just going to be Walking Dead Junior.
Right?
Because then you find out they're going to go off on their trip.
Yeah.
Just like in the first season, they decided they were going to go to Atlanta or whatever. I mean, not Atlanta, Washington or whatever.
Yeah. And my understanding is it's going to be a 2-season, almost kind of miniseries kind of thing. It's a planned 2-season thing. They're not going to keep it going for longer than that, I guess is the idea. But yeah, this is what The Walking Dead does that just makes me so angry. They've done 2 shows now, 2 spin-off shows that both apparently just want to be The Walking Dead. It's just you have a universe you can build. You can do something completely different in this universe that is from a different angle or interesting or, and especially when you're talking about World Beyond, where it's about the healing and how you get past the zombies, that's interesting. But no, you're just going to, make it more
or
zombie
like
stuff.
what's going on in other countries,
Right,
do it
yeah.
way in the future,
Yeah.
something. But yeah, no, this felt like they were just like, we need a YA is real popular now. We should do a YA Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And then hired no one that knew anything about YA.
Right.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like these are supposed to be kids, but they're like, but they're adults basically, right? Because they're like put in charge of like city planning and
Yeah.
like it's like there's actual adults around. Like, what is going on? Like, who would listen to this kid?
Right. Danae,
None of it made sense.
I'm really curious, Danae, like watching the video, like what you interpret this show to be. Like, were you able to kind of envision? You can give thoughts and transition into the video if you want, but I was just curious, kind of like your thoughts about this show.
Oh, so I super didn't watch it.
The video, the Sins video, you didn't?
I was just like, I like completely forgot about it. Go me!
Well,
Like,
fair enough.
Super sitting here listening to you guys going, oh yeah, that was definitely something I should have done. Too late now.
Based on the YouTube comments, everybody forgot or didn't know it existed. So
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I do remember you guys talking about it and expressing all this stuff. Like as you're talking, like, yeah, I remember that we had this, but it was so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I just super spaced it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, listen, I understand that zombie blind spot. It's just like you're looking down the list of stuff we're doing on the show today. You just, skip right over it. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't blame you actually for this one. Jonathan,
sorry, guys.
No, Jonathan, you want to kick us off with some video thoughts then?
This show exists. I thought that was perfect. I think Aaron put that in. It's called The Pursuit of Excellence Hope. That was one. Oh, and then the not in my America, not in my Civic Republic military, CRM. I loved Aaron went on this whole rant about the what did they make? The banner.
Yeah.
Like the banner really bothered Aaron. And there was multiple sins about it, which I thought were great.
Well, it's just one of those prop things where it makes no sense when you really think about how that prop is supposed to develop, right? Because they've got this banner that is supposed to be welcoming their guests, right? And it says like, welcome such and such. And then at the end says something like, you guys all suck or something like
suck
that.
my balls or something I can't
something
remember.
dumb or whatever. But it's like, where was all that space on the banner for the "you guys suck" portion when they originally made the banner? Like, why is it there?
Was it unfinished and they were going to add to it that morning? And then you had like all the different colors that were like not spaced out well.
And that was the second part of it. The artistic vision of this banner was so bad. It's like, why do you have light green next to dark green? If you're going for like, like a variety, space those things out.
And then the last and maybe my favorite was you said that there wasn't a crease when she showed it to her later.
It's true. It's just true. That's all. Yeah.
92% of this episode is uncreative exposition dumps. I thought was really good. And then the whole thing about the radio static. The first part where she said something about it could be radio static, and you're like, what? And then later you're like, yeah, sure, it wasn't just radio static.
Yeah.
And then obviously the best one was the dialogue in this show is so earnest. I'm surprised it hasn't gone to camp, jail, and saved Christmas. You know what I mean, Vern? That was brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime you can get a Jim Varney reference in there,
absolutely,
all the better for it. You mentioned a lot of the ones I had. I also like nothing says awesome rager like being crammed in a small storage room with a bunch of drunk teenagers. I thought that was a good observation. The slam on the MCU where the line in the show is your head is so far up the future's ass you've completely abandoned the now, and then the sin is just the MCU. Episode does not contain a karate fight with zombies. I thought was a great sin.
I was so mad when I saw that karate class. I was like, yes, we're gonna get karate and zombies. Right. And then it never happened.
Never happened.
I thought that was definitely foreshadowing.
The only other thing I wanted to mention was, again, thinking through this world. This show just doesn't seem interested in really thinking things through, because they have this situation where people who are close to death, because in this world, when you die, you turn into a zombie no matter what. You don't have to get bitten or anything. Just when you die, you turn into a zombie. And so they have people who are on death's door or might die soon in like nursing homes with like caged doors and those kind of things. And this person dies, and I think she comes up to visit her or whatever and almost gets attacked by this person. And I'm just like, how in a world like this do you not have a pulse bracelet on everybody? Or, something that would indicate, even just a camera in their room or something, that would indicate that they've died or turned or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not do constant checks, to know?
That was the only semi decent moment, by the way, in the episode. Because you're right. It's like, that's kind of interesting. But then, like you said, they kind of ruin it. And also, I forgot to talk about the ending, man. The ending of this episode is so bleak and it doesn't earn it at all. Like, they just slaughter everyone except for the main characters.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that should have been that could have been so cool, like in a good show.
Right.
Or effective, not cool. Slaughtering people is never cool, but effective storytelling.
Just so you're clear, we are anti-slaughtering people.
Yeah, yes, but it was just kind of an aside that everybody was murdered.
Yeah.
They just it was almost just like an aside. It was like part of like a musical montage. It was the weirdest. It was the weirdest delivery of something that epic I've ever seen in my life.
It's so bad.
Terrible.
It's so bad. It's so very bad. Don't give it another thought. Move on with your life. All right, let's move on to music video sins. Ariana Grande rejoining us with 3435.
What was this song about?
I don't know. I couldn't really tell. I looked at the lyrics and sometimes things are sometimes things are too deep for me to even understand. So I couldn't figure this one out. Maybe you guys can help me, but yeah. So yeah, 34 plus 35, that equals 69, and that's about all you need to know as far as this song. It's just
this song is terrible.
It's it's not
I'm
great.
Sorry.
No, it's not great.
I like her. I genuinely like a lot of her songs, but God, this is just bad in my opinion.
Yeah. Danae, did you have any further thoughts?
No. Nothing that you guys haven't already said. I think it's a situation where you've got a beautiful young girl who has talent and you want to get views, you want to sell, sex sells, and she's singing about it more bluntly than ever before. And it's going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that's usually and I will say, when I say it's terrible, the subject matter doesn't. I could care less about that. It's just the melody.
You could care less about 69? Oh my.
I'm saying everything wrong. That's not why I think it's a terrible song. I just think legitimately it's a bad song. Like, the melody's not great.
Yeah.
The way the chorus is terrible, as Barrett says, but this is something that feels more like you would find like in a rap. Like Nicki Minaj or like Doja Cat or somebody like that would rap it. You don't usually I feel like you don't usually hear people like sing these, so that was kind of interesting and could be cool, but it was kind of ruined in like I said, the music itself just did nothing for me. But yeah, whatever. This song isn't for me, so
it's for me. It is. I'm maybe going to get a little deep on this. It is one of those things where like. It's I get it. You're horny. I don't understand. Why isn't there anything else to it? It's just like, it's Weird Al's Fat, right? You're just, you have a, it's just.
That is just a comparison I wasn't expecting to hear.
But right? It's just like listing different foods and being like, I want to eat that. Like, it's just, yeah, I get it. You're hungry. You want to eat stuff. Like, it's funny because Weird Al's doing a parody and there's actual humor there. But this video song isn't trying to be funny. But it's just I don't know. I think there's something so unclever about these lyrics in this song. It's just, I don't know.
Maybe it is trying to be funny. maybe that's the problem.
Maybe it is.
I don't know. I feel like there's some things where you would watch the video and you kind of pick up on it trying to be funny, and maybe
no, it's not. There's no sense of humor
like
here.
The video itself is even just like, we're doing whatever we want to do.
Yeah. You know what goes great for a song about somebody just wanting to have sex? Just make them a robot. That seems like a great.
Was she
comparison.
making a robot so she could just have sex with herself?
I have no idea. Don't ask me. I have no idea. I do know
that the fingers had to have a lot of dexterity.
Yes, of course. I do know that I thought the video was hilarious. Danae, why don't you kick us off with some thoughts from the Sins video?
Well, I think we're probably all going to have one of the very same ones, which is simultaneous orgasm sin. That was
Yeah.
For me, we continue to just hear Barrett's performance just go to the next level, and that was definitely a fun one for me.
Mm-hmm.
The sin about time management being very important when you're planning this type of activity, as far as just, I guess, sex until the morning, essentially. That was really fun. And then referring to your vaginal care routine as keeping it squeaky. I got a little chuckle out of that.
Absolutely.
Danae's like, that's what I say.
That's right. Keeping it squeaky.
Yeah.
Who doesn't say that?
Everybody says that.
I say that.
Yeah.
Say that about my vagina. Jonathan, what about you? What did you like from this video?
I had Arianna truly has a firm grasp on childhood. When I guess that was for the line where she's like, I want to have a baby or whatever. Oh, she means diddling. I thought was very funny.
One down too.
And then the very simple water sports and boob dancing.
Gotta love the simple ones. Sure. Ari got her sex on tonight, but she totally missed out on crossing the deer hunter off her list of shame. That made me laugh quite a bit. Where did she get her PhD anyway? Olivet Nazarene University. Hello. That was one of the ones that I was like my brain fried. I was like, how does he know about all? And I was like, yeah, like I know how he knows.
Of course,
both Jeremy and I went there, but it was like one of those things like nobody mentions, ONU. That's wild.
That was a dig, yo.
It was a dig, and I will, for the record, say Olivet actually does have a pretty good academic record. So, I'll just throw that out there of all the things that you could say about ONU, but that's just me defending my alma mater.
You and Jeremy went there. That's probably more than enough for a lot of people.
Hey, there you go. See? Yeah, we both graduated from that fine institution. We haven't heard what Barrett had to say yet. What did Barrett have to say about this song?
Ariana's new song is kind of hilarious. I wasn't kidding when I compared this to the Ring Around the Rosie song and Get Him to the Greek. I don't think even WAP is this explicit, especially when she sings, "You can drink it like water." Also, wasn't kidding about having to use the subtitles, and I never have to use the subtitles. She's given up, man. She should have her own musical genre called mumble porn. I hate it. I also try to put myself in the position of this poor bastard that knows he's going to have to stay up all night and satisfy this horn dog. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am saying it would be exhausting to keep up with Ari, even if she hadn't been drinking coffee and eating healthy. Once again, this video had fuck all to do with the song, by the way. Anyway, I love the outtakes for this one, and I had a lot of fun with the simultaneous orgasms sin.
Yeah, you did. By the way, that's my favorite fair food. Horn dogs. I love those.
Oh,
you said horn dogs.
I thought you were going to say something about simultaneous orgasm. Like, I've never seen that.
You never seen that served at the fair? All right. Let's move on to CinemaSins for the week. We will kick it off with Over the Hedge. This was an Atkinson Hughes script. Chris and Danae writing on this one. And this is one of those movies that I'm not sure if I like or if I just have fond memories of because my kids and I watched it together. This was like right in our sweet spot when my boys were like loving this kind of stuff. And it was clever enough and fun enough and visually entertaining enough that this was one that was, on repeat a lot at my house. There's a rambunctious energy to it that really fit, my boys. So I think I love this movie, but I can't separate it from that. You know what I mean?
No,
like
I have movies like that for sure. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't have that connection to this because this came out well before my daughter was born, and so I don't know if I've even I don't think I've watched this one with her. I mean, it's very possible she's seen it because they watch stuff like this at school all the time and stuff. But I just saw it like the one time. I might have seen it in the theater, but I saw it around when it came out. I remember thinking it was, especially for a DreamWorks movie, it was funny.
Yeah.
But I just don't remember much about it.
Just to be clear, the ages of my boys, all boys, when this movie came out was 2, 4, 6, and 8.
No, so
perfect. I mean, can you imagine a perfect time for a rambunctious movie like this than 4 kids between the ages of 2 and 8? Danae, what did you think? Because you wrote on this, so obviously you watched it. What did you think of the movie?
I had a surprisingly good time.
Yeah,
with
it's
it,
fun, right?
Actually, mostly because I feel like Steve Carell as Hammy is just perfection.
Yeah,
he is such a fun It was interesting to me too, because I watched it without knowing who any of the voices were. And there's this fun thing that happens where, you're trying to kind of figure it out, but then you just don't think about it and watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized who the voices were, which changed the movie for me my second watch. Because I was thinking about Steve, in the recording booth, like creating all these hilarious noises. It's just, I don't know. He brings something to his performance that I genuinely enjoyed. And I had a couple of really true, like, I'm loving this. This is a lot of fun moments.
Yeah.
The people are atrocious, like as far as the animation goes, like how they look is horrible.
Yes.
But the animals are fun. And there's also just these really interesting comedic timing moments with RJ when he turned his back to get the chips from the bear at the beginning. There's just a couple of moments when the chip bag opens up that are just really funny. And so I actually enjoyed this one. I mean, it's definitely sinnable. There's lots of sins.
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably the biggest sin of all is just this completely falling apart. Like, where is this forest? Is it on the outskirts of this pop-up overwinter community that just apparently appears? Or is it actually in the middle of the community like RJ shows on the map? That to me is the biggest and most easiest thing to pick apart with the movie. I mean, besides nocturnal creatures sleeping at night, going to bed like people do.
Well, and also the fact that, none of those woodland creatures actually do hibernate. They would still be awake and aware. Bears hibernate. But
good point.
You know who doesn't hibernate? Raccoons. They don't hibernate.
Turtles do.
I don't think they hibernate.
Well, I mean, they definitely dig under go like to the bottoms of, they go under the ground to stay for the winter. So anyway,
when I heard you mention the chips too, I did hear that those chips were good. So
yes,
I bet you did like that part.
Yeah.
Who put that outtake in? Was that you or Chris?
I wonder. Yeah, Chris doesn't even know about it. What are you talking about?
He does now, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know if he knows where it comes from, though. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't even know that he would know it was you. Like, that's like,
right.
It's, you're doing enough of an excited voice there that, I mean, once you know it's you, it certainly sounds like you, but you may not know.
Another weird crossover, though, is that both CinemaSins videos this week have outtakes from one of the writers.
Yeah, that's right. Because Jeremy
wrote on Speed, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that once you just, again, you forget, you suspend the whole thing. Like, well, where are they? Are they actually in like a little part of this forest? And then that is debunked by the end of the movie. Like, if you just forget that part, I mean, this is a movie about sentient animals who can communicate with each other and understand English and drive vehicles. So yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's just silly. It's just silly fun.
And I love the also, speaking of the movie in its kind of visual flair, I love the observation that thing we loved in X-Men was done almost exactly in this movie, so many years before that, is a really great observation. And one of the reasons I remember loving the movie is because of that visual cleverness, just the idea that he's moving so fast that even the speed of light is, trying to catch up to him, kind of thing. Yeah, that was really cool. Let's get into the video itself. I guess I can kick us off on this one. Does a bear do gangster stuff in the woods? Made me laugh so much, just because it's such a great play on that common philosophical / humorous question.
I don't think it said stuff though. I just
said that. No, I could have said shirt. Apparently, just said that. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are required to play a married couple after the Best in Show Accords were passed in the year 2000. Loved that. Let's call it Steve, and then the sin is just nepotism, which is so hilarious to me. Because it's not nepotism. It's just the guy, Steve Carell is named Steve. I love that little turn. Of course, I loved Night Bears. I thought that was really funny for nightmares. I don't know. I just looked up a bunch of Girl Scout awards and that one stood out. Just verbalizing that in the script was so great.
It was the World Thinking Day Award.
It sure was.
World Thinking Day
Award. It sure was. The Accept People, right? they get to live. This is a great observation. I don't know what to sin teenagers or screenwriters' attempt at writing a teenager. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Can I be in the car? I want to be in the car. And then the sin is just Monopoly. I love that. Animals driving the car. Look, I know Finding Dory and Toy Story 4 and Secret Life of Pets all came out after this movie, but I'm tired. This movie is stealing from all those movies. I'll turn myself into the fact police tomorrow. And then the pièce de résistance. I'm like their Otis from the Andy Griffith Show. I honestly, it has been a long time. I am not a natural laugher out loud. I had to pause this video. I was laughing so hard at that Otis line because it's such a great turn on the idea that he's just given up. He doesn't care. He knows he gets stuff wrong. It's just like, I'm basically the fact police's Otis right now. That really made me laugh. So that was my favorite sin of the week for sure. Good stuff. What about you, Jonathan?
You mentioned quite a few of them, but I did have That's a Deep Cut for you Arthur C. Clarke fans. I thought was great. Also, if you laser a critter to a crisp, why trap it in a cage? Is death not enough? And damn, there goes HBO again when the satellite flew up.
Yes. Yep. Danae, what other ones did you want to mention?
I really enjoyed writing. I mean, it's just a simple one, but it was kind of just because of the behind the scenes with Chris and I. The skunk pops out of the cake at one point in time. And I was like, did the skunk get baked into the cake? Did it jump from above, below? And it happened so quickly. So we really couldn't do a lot with it. So just having like what, happened in that moment, even though it was so simple, it's one of my favorites because we were both just like, how is a skunk in a cake?
Right.
Without stopping the entire script and like devolving into writing a lot. Do you ever feel like somebody on the production team is asking questions like, yeah, but how did the printer print a picture if there's no electricity? And then they were fired.
Yeah.
The one about the dog stepping on, the chew toy sets off and then the dog goes play. And the sin is, if you think this dog would have waited until hearing a chew toy to come out to the doghouse, you've never interacted with the dog before. I didn't write that one. And I was mad at myself for not writing that one because it's so true. And so parents everywhere left the theater knowing that there's a 63% chance their children just learned about butt plugs, because that happened in the movie. Shocker. And then see kids, the moral of the story is that in order to be beautiful, you should look nothing like your true self. I'm really enjoying on these kids movies, finding those weird
messages.
Things,
yeah.
The weird messages and taking a chance to really just point that out as a sin. I find that to be one of the, if I'm going to leave a legacy on the sins team, I think it might be those.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Definitely.
And then the bonus round was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff in that.
The bag of holding as a D&D fan might say. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Speed. This is an OG Atkinson Scott script. The Sin Lords collaborating on this, and it is great. This is another really funny video. I loved both the videos this week so much.
Very much so.
Let's hear what Jeremy had to say about writing on Speed before we kind of go into it.
Why in all hell? I almost said why in the hell. Nope. He says, why in all hell
all of it,
would
yes.
they check the passenger elevators for the bomber, but not the freight elevator? That is so textbook. Idiots. The sin about the party in Oak Park is a true story sin. Most insane party I ever attended, and I definitely went home alone. The single biggest problem I found while sinning this movie is the dude who thinks Keanu is there to arrest him, so he pulls a fucking gun and in a struggle shoots the bus driver. And that guy is never arrested or anything. He's just a happy saved hostage at the end. Everyone forgets the manslaughter. Also enjoyed pointing out the silent appearance of Richard Schiff as the train conductor at the end, who dies. My favorite sins are probably where Chris had me singing Smooth Criminal snippets.
So good.
And I got to flex my terrible Michael Jackson impression. This movie is awesome. I feel like it's the right combination of stupid and entertaining. I guess a lot of people these days see the same thing in the Fast and Furious movies, but I don't. The movies ramp the stupid up to 11, whereas Speed is really only stupid a couple times. The bus jump is stupid, but they didn't make the bus do that jump 80 stories high from one skyscraper to another, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair point.
No, it is a fair point. In fact, I even had in my notes to bring up a movie I do think is a comparison that I would use in a conversation with people who love Speed but don't love some of these ridiculous movies, and that is Skyscraper or any other rock movie. Like, I think there's a reason those movies aren't looked at like Speed and those kind of things anymore, because, you know, movie making has changed, and I think that's fine. But it really is a similar thing, right? Like, I just remember watching this whole video and being like, you're right. Speed is dumb. Like, none of this stuff makes any sense, but it's just a fun ride. And I just remember feeling that same way watching Skyscraper.
But I mean, that's like saying Star Wars is dumb. There's not aliens and we can't travel in spaceships. And I mean, I don't know. I think for an action movie, this is actually a very smart movie in a lot of ways. And you don't have the performances in Skyscraper that you have in this movie. I mean, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock are amazing together. And then Dennis Hopper is a way better villain than in most of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, Jeff Daniels is really interesting. I just think it's the performances mixed with the set pieces, where you essentially have 3 big action set pieces in this movie,
right,
and they handle that very well. It's also very simplified, which I think is really cool. You've just got a guy that just wants money, and he wants people, you know, and he's pissed off about his past life, and he wants money. And so he's doing this crazy shit to get money. There's nothing else beyond that. You know, there's not secret spies and codes that unlock magical doors. And I don't know. I think this is a great movie. I mean, I think this is a pretty, as far as action movies go, I don't think they get much better than this, especially in this time period.
Yeah. I think you state a very convincing argument. I think I agree with what you're saying. Although there are the comparisons to codes that unlock secret doors in Speed for sure. Like, there are, you know,
fair enough.
there are bombs that you just have to detach and it turns green. Yeah. You know, it's like
and there are dumb. I guess all action movies inherently there are dumb things. I mean, Die Hard, which everybody talks about being like a realistic movie, like Die Hard isn't realistic. It's just not. Yeah. I mean, I don't ever get that argument. So I just think some are done better than others, and I think Speed is one of those that's done better than others.
Totally agree. Totally, I love Speed. Speed is one of the first action movies that I remember watching and going, oh, like, you can do this. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something really kinetic about it. I mean, literally, that's the whole point of the plot, is that it has to stay kinetic.
And this is also why I don't understand why when people talk about their favorite action stars, no one ever says Keanu. And I don't get it, because you've got Point Break before this, which is a different type of action movie, but really well done. Then you've got Speed. Then you've got the Matrix movies. Whatever you say about the sequels, the first one obviously is very interesting. And then the John Wick movies. I mean, that's a good batting average. That's a really good batting average.
Oh, I think Keanu definitely has to be listed.
He might even be my favorite.
Greatest action stars of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think he's doing incredible stuff.
Just ignore Chain Reaction. And
I remember kind of liking that movie.
I saw it in the theater. I have not seen it since.
I haven't either.
Tell you
but I just remember
single thing that happened in it.
I remember I didn't love it or anything, but I remember coming out of it going, "Well, that was a fun time." But I really haven't seen it
Isn't that
since.
Rachel Weisz? I feel like that's early Rachel Weisz.
Really don't remember. Genuinely don't. Know. Danae, did Speed ever cross your perspective back in the 90s or anytime after?
I don't remember. I do remember, like, Keanu Reeves' face and Sandra Bullock's face becoming like famous people faces that I recognized from this movie. But I don't remember if I saw it and was like, holy shit. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen it.
Right. Yeah.
Sandra
So it was
Bullock is a
weird.
real wildcat, by the way.
It's a great.
That was one of my favorite things because I've never noticed that before.
Sure.
The way he's looking at her, I've never noticed that the angle was so he couldn't have seen that. That was amazing.
Yeah, and
Mind blown.
I loved that sin about I dare you not to fall in love with Sandra Bullock in this movie because it's
I do
so
too.
true. I mean, she's just so adorable, and
I love Sandra though.
Yeah.
I like her
but
in
this-
movies makes me happy. So
yeah.
Yeah, this wasn't her first movie, but this was definitely her first big movie.
like her
She had-
breakthrough.
it
or
launched
She had
her.
breakout,
done like
whatever.
Yeah,
Love
it
Potion
launched
number
her.
9 and some little things like that before this, but she did this and then While You Were Sleeping, and then it was just she was off to the
Yeah.
races. So.
Yep. Yeah.
And she did Speed 2.
Of course she did.
Yeah, I don't remember ever. I don't remember, but I think like part of me wants to watch it to see Keanu and her together because I just think that'd be
they're
cute.
they're so good.
But-
I've never seen the other one they did. I've never seen that. The mailbox. What was it
yeah,
called?
Yeah, yeah,
you mentioned it, the lake house. They mentioned it in the video.
The lake house. Yeah.
Have you seen that one, Danae?
No,
But they share a mailbox in different years, right? Is it something like that?
Well,
like in
that-
different
yes,
time
that's-
periods?
I mean, certainly we can spoil a movie from 20 years ago, but yeah, that is the you find out at the end that they're sending letters to each other through time.
That wasn't known.
I think that's
going
the
into
twist.
The movie.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
is that
the
a
twist.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Danae. I just thought we knew that.
you
for
guys
some
know me by
reason.
now. There's
Maybe I have seen it.
a 1.6% chance I will watch a movie we talk about. So
That's right.
it's
That's
good.
right. The first movie I remember seeing her in was Demolition Man, which was the year before Speed. But yeah.
I wish I could
that's
remember
right.
the first movie I saw.
I
her in.
forgot. I guess Demolition Man had to be the first movie I saw her into then. But
Yeah.
but Speed definitely was where I was like, oh, there's something there. I love Demolition Man though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about Sandra Bullock forever because I love her so much. But let's go ahead and get into the Sins video itself. Danae, why don't you kick us off? What were some of your stuff you wrote down from this one?
I like the usually they fall down, and it's like this happens often, does it?
It's a great point. It's a great
Point
point.
that stuff out. But in roughly a week, I set up this bomb on a bus thing with a really complex feature of making an arm when the bus hits 50 miles per hour and blows up if it goes under 50. That shit was no sweat.
That's right.
I really
Spent
enjoyed
2 years on the
combat.
elevator thing. But yeah, just give me a week for the bus.
Also,
Whip
something
that
I
up.
never caught.
Yeah.
In like the 50 times I've seen this movie,
Right.
never caught that.
There's enough C4 on this thing to put a hole in the world. And the sin is, that's really not all that impressive if you think about it.
That's
And I'm
right.
like, wait, what?
It really isn't. I can put a hole in the world with a shovel. Like that's it's just so great. That's so great. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then there's a signal going to the bus. Technically, the signal's coming from the bus, but I don't want to be pedantic, except that I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the ones I wrote down.
What about you, Jonathan?
I have someone just discovered 3D text rendering.
Mhm.
That was really funny. Beverly Hills copying things was great. We won't be mentioning him in those statistics. Also, fuck that guy. And then I just liked the it's okay. All these kids are also full of cans.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
that was
had
a
this,
good one.
Oh,
I had
so
the
good.
Smooth Criminal thing written down too because that was amazing.
Yeah, the Smooth
Yeah, I
Criminal
did
things.
too.
The party sin is amazing. Jeremy mentioned both of those. What is that terrorist interest about? Like the extra
Yes,
700,000 or
awesome.
whatever. We're just two cool guys, and then the guy tackles the other guy, and then the sin is just helping. I thought that was it's really funny. I love the story about merging onto the Chicago Loop in '95. Speaking of things that Jeremy and I both know because we were both going to school around there, he is not wrong. People go crazy fast heading into Chicago in the '90s.
They do.
So I appreciated that one. The Ruxin, wow, does his family know he's still alive? That made me laugh quite a bit. Maybe don't blame your kid murdering tendencies on other people, Annie. I love the way that one was delivered. And then this is a weird time to assure someone that you're a feminist, Howard. Like I said, it's just full of great stuff. Really love this one.
That Ferris Bueller outtake was amazing.
Yeah.
Because it just lined up perfectly.
That's so good.
Oh my
It
God.
was so good. All right, let's move into keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're each going to talk about what it took to put together the week's content a little bit. What do you guys got? What you got from this week? Danae?
Well, oddly, right now I'm looking up something that I think you guys might find interesting. I'm learning about what dry brushing is and how it can be combined with massage therapy. So
Glad to know you've been paying attention this whole time. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
It's really
can
weird
cleanse the
that you would be distracted by something.
cleanse the lymphatic system, remove cellular waste. They call it.
Yeah. Dry brushing. Got it.
Dry brushing.
So what? I'm sorry. This. What does it do again? What is dry brushing for? It's on your body.
Like on massage table, they take a brush and they just literally just brush your body
Like a horse.
And it much like a horse. It can counter fatigue and sluggishness and help with an underperforming immune system as well.
Oh, nice.
So
Is this a newer technique?
Oh, no. It's an ancient Ayurvedic tradition that has been, and I think I said that word wrong, but that's okay. It's been around for a very long time. But it's gaining popularity, because
I don't get massages often. I just don't ever recall the dry brushing treatment option.
Listen, the dry brushing sin this week was one of my favorites. So I don't mind you talking a little bit more about that.
But my actual keeping tabs from doing research that could be getting me in trouble in some way is I looked up how hard is it to blow up a propane tank. Surprise, it's pretty hard actually. So in Over the Hedge, the propane tank explodes and launches the wagon full of treats up into the air, where the turtle and the raccoon are then floating back down to earth in this comedic fashion. And I just wanted to know how difficult it actually was to blow up a propane tank. And it is not easy to blow up propane tanks. So I learned about
That's good.
And then there were links to things like easier combustible material. I chose not to click on that because I didn't want to create a more concerning search trail.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it's not easy to do that. So that wouldn't just happen. Like if a propane tank caught a spark and there was fire coming out of it that would propel a wagon forward, the spark wouldn't, like TNT go into the propane tank. It's just, it doesn't happen that way.
Of the things in this world that could be not easy to do, I'm glad that's one of them. I'm glad that's on that list of things that aren't easy to do.
Me too, because I have propane tank on my back porch.
Right, exactly.
So attached to our grill specifically, just so you guys have a full picture of why there's a propane tank on my back porch.
I've heard through watching Mythbusters and just watching movies and hearing people talk about it. I mean, the way they do explosions in movies in general, it's a lot harder than that usually.
Yeah.
Especially cars, cars will just hit signs and explode. And that would never happen. There's even I think it was Mythbusters where they were talking about because you have to create a spark, right? So you could even you could shoot a gun in a gas tank. I don't recommend anybody do this. But you could shoot a gun in a gas tank. If you didn't actually spark anything, nothing would happen.
Right. Yeah.
Probably presumably. I mean, but
just a hole in the gas tank.
But please don't do that. Nobody that's listening. In fact, just cut that out. I don't even know why I said that. No clue. In today's world.
I actually don't have anything this week. I went through my notes and there wasn't really anything about kind of putting together either of the videos I wrote on this week that I could think of. So I'm glad, Danae, that we got the dry brushing in there. That'll count as mine. So it's good to have that. What about you, Jonathan? Did you have anything from this week?
The only thing I had, Walking Dead World Beyond, I couldn't figure out who Julia Ormond was. I was like, I recognize that person. I didn't recognize anybody in the show because I've never seen any of these people act in anything.
Right.
And if you look them up, a lot of them haven't. But Julia Ormond played the CRC or whatever, captain. And I hadn't seen her in forever. And so I was I remember I was trying to remember when she was kind of popular, and I was just looking up stuff on her. I ended up not using any of it, but for those that don't know, Julia Ormond was one of those mid 90s. She was kind of the it actor for a second. 94, she was in Legends of the Fall. That kind of got her a little notice. And then in 95, she just all of a sudden she had 2 starring roles in First Night, which is a King Arthur movie. Those never make money. And that
was a Connery one, right?
Yeah, Connery and Richard Gere.
Yeah.
And Sabrina, where she had the horribly hard task of replacing Audrey Hepburn.
Right. That's not something you want to do.
In the remake of a classic. Both of those movies tanked.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she was no longer the person. She did do, in 97, she did this really cool movie, CinemaSins B, which is based on a really good mystery novel. But that I was just looking up her career. Most of her success has been on television since then. She was on CSI New York for a while, Mad Men. She won an Emmy for Temple Grandin, the Temple Grandin movie in 2010.
Yeah.
With Claire Danes. And also the most interesting thing, she got involved with the United Nations on Drugs and Crime and has been fighting human trafficking since the mid 90s. So awesome.
Yeah.
I love me some Julia Ormond, I guess.
Absolutely.
But that was just interesting. All those like it actors, it's always, I don't know. It's just that I guess that still happens. Like, I feel like Taylor Kitsch kind of got thrown into that recently. Like this is like 10 years ago, but like when they did John Carter and he did the Oliver Stone movie and Battleship. That's his name, right? Okay.
Yeah. Taylor Kitsch. Yeah.
And then none of them made money. So he was just, he's still around, but it's just, I don't know. It's always unfortunate when you see that somebody with that much talent just get stuck in projects that never had a chance to be from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, especially because it happens to women so much too, especially as they get older, where all of a sudden, like, the people love to see them in things, and then the industry decides, oh, you're over 35 now. Guess you can't star in movies anymore.
Well,
and it's just, I don't think that happens as much anymore, but it still happens.
TV has changed so much, which is
true.
Which has unfortunately hurt other areas because, like, guest stars now typically are big names. You hear a lot of people that did a lot of guest starring and stuff like in the 90s, and like, you can't get those jobs now because Nicole Kidman gets it, or whoever.
Right.
But because of that, I think that's why, and not that Nicole Kidman's not still making movies, and I think she's kind of an exception, but Meryl, and so is Meryl Streep, but they have that option, to go do television.
Yeah.
So I think that's helped a lot. But yeah, that's unfortunate, especially like you said with females.
Yeah. Totally.
It's bullshit.
That's right. All right, let's move on to the comment section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're each going to pull a comment from the week's videos that we thought was good, that we wanted to read. Or it can be from Discord or any of the other places around the internet that you interact with us. I'm going to go first from the Speed video. Andres Gonzalez had one of my favorite comments of all time. He said, "Did you know that Speed didn't have a director? Because if Speed had a director, it would be called Velocity." And as somebody who appreciates the sciences and a good bit of wordplay, I just want you to know, Andre, you made my day. And apparently thousands of other people who liked your comment as well.
I'm sorry, but I really don't get that.
It's fine. It's fine.
No, but can you explain
it? You're not alone. I'm like, okay, cool. What is this
I'm probably not smart.
Is my dumb showing?
The equation for velocity is speed plus direction. And so if it actually had a director...
But Danae and I are the ones wearing glasses. I'm telling you, that is no joke or reason I've kept... I don't like putting stuff in my eye, but one thing I always joke about, I kept glasses, is because then at least I'm like a few % more likely to give off the impression that I'm intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's like that, they goes hand in hand somehow. Like he's wearing glasses. He can't be an idiot.
Oh my gosh.
He might be a serial killer, but he can't be an idiot.
I just love that Jonathan are.
I'm glad we both didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
Exactly.
Thank you, teacher.
Jonathan, why did you go next?
Mine were from Walking Dead. I picked a couple because I thought for sure Aaron was going to take this one, but this show, Mariella Kay, I'm going to go with. Mm-hmm. She said for Walking Dead, the show is so unrealistic. No one would act this way during a pandemic.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Mine is from Music Video Sins from Darius Bizimana, who says, I could really feel the disappointment in the Believe Me, I've Tried Sin, which was the narrator attempting his own 69. And I thought that was a funny comment.
That is a funny comment for sure. All right, let's move on to Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're going to chat about something else from the pop culture world that we've seen recently.
Beyond Our Wildest Dreams.
Somewhere. I mean,
I saw
somewhere
Danae
beyond them.
I think Danae was thinking that because she was doing like a
She was
conducting.
pantomiming. She was doing a little pantomime. She can't help herself.
I know.
You know what? I just I was checking some of the comments from the SoundCloud, and somebody had commented like 5 episodes ago that we had accidentally used the Beyond the Sins stinger for the SinSide Scoop at the beginning. And then just 2 weeks ago, we accidentally used the SinSide Scoop stinger for Beyond the Sins. When I say we, I mean me, because I'm the one that edits it. So I was like, man, what is it about those two that I get confused? And I'm just thinking, that's really strange that I would.
Well, we didn't hear it either. I mean,
know, right? Nobody caught it. It's just like,
that's so weird.
we're so used to those. But yeah, I've definitely messed that up a couple times.
Oops.
Jonathan,
you done messed up, Aaron.
I done messed up. Jonathan, what do you got for Beyond the Sins this week?
I finally watched Run on Hulu. Which,
Oh, yeah.
Did you do that on? Because I don't listen to the stuff up until I've seen it. So I got to go back and listen to that. So you've seen it?
Yes. Yeah. We reviewed it last week. Yeah, I think.
Oh, was it last week?
Or 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, because I guess it's been out for a couple weeks. I just hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. So for those that don't know, this is a movie on Hulu. It was originally supposed to come out in theaters. I think Hulu picked it up at some point. It's about, I mean, I don't want to say I don't know how you say much about this without spoiling it. So
No, it's heavy spoiler
because there's,
opportunity.
I mean, pretty early on you find out one thing and then there's more, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll just go with the IMDb. A teenager begins to suspect her mother might be keeping some secrets from her. That's enough, I think. The teenager is played by Kiera Allen, who I don't think I had seen in anything before. She is great in this. The mother is played by Sarah Paulson, who, per usual, is amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it was nice seeing her in something that Ryan Murphy didn't do. And then it's directed by, I cannot pronounce his name. Do you know how to pronounce it since you've done a review? Okay.
Nope.
I'm going to go with Anish Shigante. But he directed Searching, which
Correct.
I really liked quite a bit. I did not like this as much as Searching. But and I think part of it too is I think this, like Searching, I mean, had that angle with the computer and everything that's a little different. I mean, I know other movies have done it, but,
Sure.
But that kind of gave it like a bit of a, and I think he used it better than anybody had used that before. This is very much a straight domestic thriller. Almost all of it, I would say, takes place in the home or around there. It's almost all just Sarah Paulson and Kiera Allen. And as far as that goes, they do a very good job. There are some genuinely decent to good suspense scenes in this. I felt like it never, I mean, it's a recommend, but it's probably on the lower end of that for me, just because it just kind of felt like a genre exercise most of the time. And it was a good example of that, but they're just, I don't know. I felt like I'd seen this movie quite a bit. And that's, I mean, this is a good version of that type of movie, especially with the performances. But, and then especially the ending, like the final scene at the end, I didn't really know what to think of that because there was some kind of confusion.
It ruins the movie. It's horrible. Yeah. It's awful. I hate it. It's one of the worst endings of a movie in a long time.
Just that final.
Yeah.
And it's just the final, like literally the final shot, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
Well, I'm talking about the entire coda. I'm talking about the entire, 2 minutes or whatever of that coda.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give anything away.
No, we definitely talked about it. It's, for me, I agree with almost everything you said. I don't think I liked it as much as you. I would never call it a recommend. I would probably call it a warn, maybe slightly a warn. But it is a movie that doesn't live up to its performances or the technical ability of its director. Because I think the thriller stuff is well done. Definitely somebody has studied Hitchcock. Like, there's very much an understanding of what you tell the audience, what information you give them, how you get them involved in your characters, and plus you've got two great performances at the center of it. The problem is that the entire structure of the movie is just, it gets more and more ridiculous and unbelievable the further on it goes.
That was another problem I had. And
by the end, that ending completely ruins one of the characters. Just completely ruins the character development. Like, it's just... It was rough. It was rough for me. I didn't like it.
I think if you're gonna watch, like I said, it's a very. I mean, I think I liked it enough to slightly recommend it.
Sure.
But you could very much, like, if you wanted, if I could tell people, like, just, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't just watch it, but you could literally stop the movie right before she goes there, and it would be better. Like you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
Because there were so many things about that scene too, not to get into spoilers, but like I couldn't figure out the time period. Like that confused me. Like if she was gonna do that, they seemed like it was a decent way into the future. So what was that about?
They say specifically how long it is.
Okay, I missed that then. But so in a lot of things that happened, but and then also the other problem I had with it, like you said, towards the end it got a little more unrealistic, especially like where she ends up in the house. Like why would that be the place you put her? And then you have
and why would you even have that stuff? Like it's so bad. It's just like we need a room of convenience. And so we're going to put you in the room of convenience. Yeah, it's really bad.
Up to that point, like I said, it was just kind of like, it was like, oh, this is a pretty fun, genre exercise or whatever. And there's, like you said, there's some quality suspense and stuff. But then when that started, that definitely took it down quite a bit for me. So I might even be leaning more towards what you're saying. Maybe this is more like a Rekka Warren.
I don't mean to bring it. I just hated that ending so much.
I don't think I'm ever going to watch it again. I mean, I honestly don't. But I mean, if you love Sarah Paulson, if you like this director, I mean, it's not the end of, I mean, you're not going to be like, I don't think you're going to come away from it like mad you watched it or anything.
There's also some props to be given for Kira Allen in the casting as well, in that she plays someone bound to a wheelchair, and Kira herself is also a wheelchair user. So
that's neat. I did not know
that's kind of cool as well, and she does a great job. So yeah.
This also, like, and this is another thing about, I thought, like, because I almost feel like saying even twist happened or kind of a spoiler, but the reveal closer to the end, that was telegraphed to me personally so early that when it definitely didn't have the punch it would for somebody that wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
But
I think it's fairly well telegraphed anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely, especially with that opening.
Yep.
But and then it was also very similar to a show that's actually been on Hulu recently that was based on a true story. And I'm sure it was influenced by that.
Yep.
So, and that was much better than this.
A show based on a true story, by the way, that happened where Danae and I live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not. It was in Missouri?
Yeah, it was in Springfield. Yeah.
God, that story's crazy.
Yeah.
I knew about it before I watched the show, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say Springfield. I'm not 100% sure they were in Springfield. I know they were here in the Ozarks somewhere, but.
Oh, yeah, that was in Springfield.
It's a slight recommend, maybe the higher end of a Rekka Warren, but it's somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Danae, what about you?
I'm going to recommend the webcomic that I was going to do last week. But
until you had your mind blown.
Until I had my mind blown. And I kind of mentioned it. It's called Magic Soda Pop. And I started following it when it first dropped onto the Webtoons app, which I again recommend for those who love comics. And I started following it, and I've been reading it for a while now, wondering if I was going to bring it into our sphere of conversation. And I can confidently say I'm really intrigued with this story. I'm really curious where the author is going to take it. The art is beautiful. I don't think I've talked about this one before. And it deals with a very interesting topic of substance abuse in a unique way, using a substance to get stronger, to achieve goals, and these strange side effects. Maybe I have talked about this one before.
Sounds like a Major League Baseball, but
I'm probably going to get a comment about it. So the story's about Elena, who hates being the new girl in town. And I'm just going to kind of basically read from the website. Raul Trevino, who is the creator of this webcomic. But I think he said he's Mexican living in Spain. Is part of his author biography.
He's like, I'm not Spanish. I just live in Spain.
I'm a Mexican living in Spain.
Those are two very different things. That's true, yeah.
And he's won a lot of awards. Apparently, his art is just really, really beautiful. But anyways, Elena has no friends, no reputation. She has to start over from scratch because she moves a lot. But she discovers this mysterious web store that sells magical soda pop. And so essentially there's all these different flavors of soda pop that allow you to do different magical things. And so she begins to drink them for the magical side effect to gain popularity and However, the side effects, obviously that happen are really supernatural and strange. And it's just now getting in the story where the soda pop that they've just recently drank, because now it's not just one person. There's now multiple that are drinking these soda pops once they realize that they can have what they feel like they need. They're using this drug or this substance to gain something in their lives.
Yeah.
It's just now started to get to where it's gone darker, where they're using a soda pop to get something from people in an interesting way. And so it's starting to skirt that line of, ooh, you went too far, but maybe they've been going too far from the beginning. The story, the art, it does that really perfect balance of, you kind of are always feeling a little bit uneasy, like, oh, what is the long-term effects of this? So I don't know. I think that there's just enough where it's not your high school drama comic. It's obviously dealing with some deeper themes, not only of like belonging or trying to figure out who you are or fears or cutting corners, but family dynamic and friendships too. It's a quick read as well. Some comics are writing paragraphs of information and you're getting a lot of exposition and things. This one reads pretty quickly. So it's, to me, becoming more and more impressive in how I feel as I keep up with it. So again, It's on Webtoons. It's called Magic Soda Pop.
This sounds like a dream of mine, like where I get to drink different flavored sodas and then get powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very Alice in Wonderland or Willy Wonka,
Yeah. No, it definitely has that vibe.
Very cool.
I don't know. I think also it's one that maybe your daughter would enjoy, Jonathan. I'm kind of curious if it's something that, because it's not.
I'll check it out.
It's not like an R-rated comic by any means. But then at the same time, once you download the Webtoons app, then suddenly you have exposure to a lot of content. So I don't know how, every parent is in the driver's seat of their own child's exposure to content. Webtoons has a lot of content on it. So there might even be a way to read it online if you wanted to. I think you can, but because Webtoons is also online, you can go to webtoons.com as well.
Nice.
But anyhow,
I will definitely check it out.
It's called
I'm really
Magic
curious.
Soda Pop.
Yeah, and I would really love to hear some of everyone's feedback. There's only 37 episodes, so you can easily binge read it and get on to the weekly releases right along with me. It releases every Tuesday.
Very cool. My movie that I'm going to talk about is firmly a wreck-a-warn for me. I actually had a good time with this movie, but it is all kinds of old school ridiculous, talking about, Speed and some of those 90s action movies. This is Greenland. This is Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarin. Who
You had me at Gerard Butler. Please go on.
Well, and Marina's great too, or Marina.
She's awesome.
Who I first
I
know
don't know
from
how you pronounce that.
from Firefly is where I first saw her back in the day, and then she's done great stuff since then. But they basically play a couple of parents trying to survive the end of the world. There's a asteroid coming that is going to, put a big hole in the earth, which is, not really hard when you think about it. But it's going to kill any of the population that is above ground. And so the United States has, this system, this lottery system, because they know it's coming for about 4 days. I think they have a 4-day span where they know, oh, this is going to happen. So anyway, it's just, it's them kind of going through the process of what it takes for this family to survive. What I really liked about this movie was it felt authentically end of the world in a way that I don't know that I've seen. Like if you watch something like 2012 or, even Armageddon or something like that, it's just
Geostorm.
Or Geostorm. Yes, thank you very much. That's a perfect example.
Because Gerard Butler's in it.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, that's a great point. It feels so It feels ridiculous in not just a concept way, but also an execution way. This feels ridiculous in a concept way, but the execution of it feels fairly sane to me. It feels like the world building is a little more thought out, which I really like. It's a perfect role for Gerard Butler. You know, he doesn't have to, you know, it's kind of what he's kind of made for right now.
Like his wheelhouse.
Yeah, right there in his wheelhouse. There's some pretty emotional stuff involving their child, who's played by Roger Dale Floyd, and he is incredible. You know, like it's just every once in a while I'll see a child actor and I'll just be like, man, where do you go for that stuff when you're that age? You know, like how do you access kind of the emotions that he's pulling off? I'm making this sound probably a lot better than it is. It still is.
Did you say it was a Warren?
It is because it still is a dumb action movie. Like it is definitely one of those 90s, like the world is ending, but our family is, you know, gonna make it through. Like it's very much kind of in that cheesy wheelhouse. So yeah.
My wife loves disaster movies, and she loves to hate watch Gerard Butler.
Well,
so
beautiful.
Geostorm was like a classic for her. Now she's going to be so excited she gets a second chance at this.
Yeah. Anyway, it's called Greenland. I don't even know if it's, again, we're at the time of year where I'm not sure what's out and what's not because
it doesn't look like it's available yet.
Yeah, I get different access to different things at this time of year, so it may still be coming at some point. I can tell it's not out because it currently has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so certainly it's not out in a wide way.
There are no, according to Just Watch, there are no streaming options.
It has 7 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, and it's at 100%. The audience score is at 64%. So that's interesting. But listen, it's firmly for me in that Wreck-A Warren category where it's like, yeah, this is kind of dumb, but I also kind of loved the experience. So take that for what it's worth at this point. Well, that'll wrap it up for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. If you've got anything you want to send us, you can mail it to P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri 65738. You can hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DENEESAYS.
And he is at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, a big hole in the earth, and myself, we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
A paradise, put up a parking lot. Ooh.
Doot, 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 doot. Which version are you singing in your head?
It's not exactly right.
No, that's pretty close. But who's singing it?
A person?
A human? Is it a male voice or a female voice?
Bop, bop, bop. Oddly, yes.
Fair enough.
I think there's some sort of odd combination happening.
Well, there are 2 versions that have been pretty popular over time.
Mm-hmm. The one that I just did is going to be the best and most popular, I think.
Well, I mean...
BTS lovers, you guys make my song number 1.
That's true. That's true. There is now a new version that exists.
Yes.
The song is Big Yellow Taxi, in case you were wondering. And there,
you could tell I was really wondering that.
There have been several versions of this song. The Counting Crows version may be the one you were singing because Vanessa Carlton is in there too. So there are, a male and female voice. But the version that always goes through my head is the Amy Grant version.
Mm.
But originally it was Joni Mitchell. The Joni Mitchell version is the classic.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Well, the one that I know, I think is Counting Crows then, because the one that I remember is as a male, although there is a female one that comes in at certain parts where I hear the female part. So it probably genuinely is a mashup of different artists.
Well, the Counting Crows one has a female singing in it every once in a while, Vanessa Carlton.
Well, then that's probably the one. But the interesting thing about that one is that the first times I heard it, I thought that they were saying pave paradise and put up a fucking lot. because he says just the way he says parking. And I could never figure out what he was saying. And I was like, surely he's not saying fucking like that. They wouldn't allow that. But then at the same time, I thought maybe he just kind of slid it in there. And it's like a little surprise. I'm saying fucking lot.
Is the idea? It's just like, it's a lot. It's just,
a lot.
It's a lot to handle, guys. It's just a lot.
Put up a fucking lot.
That's great. They took all the trees and put them in a tree museum. Then they charged all the people $1.50 to see them.
Here's the thing. It's sometimes hard to understand lyrics when it's playing over speakers and stuff. And I would never hear it in the car. I'd always hear it out and about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to stop. I don't know, maybe I'm in Target or something. And I got my ear kind of like perked towards one of the speakers trying to figure out, did he just say fucking lot?
In the middle of Target?
God, that's brave.
Monday, you met your best friend, Scott.
The new love of my life.
Oh, Scott.
Wait, that's my dog.
I'm having a lot of fun with the narration lately.
Good.
I was thinking today, I'm starting to really understand kind of the core of each narrator. Like Jeremy's core is sardonic, and Barrett's core is unhinged, and my core is goofy. There's a goofball nature to like some of the laughing at my own joke stuff that the other narrators don't necessarily do. And it fits my personality, and the unhinged thing fits Barrett's personality, and the sardonic thing fits Jeremy's personality. It was just interesting thinking about that today.
Yeah, I can see that. One time I had a personality.
Yeah? How'd that go?
It's been so long, I don't really remember, but
Where did you start to lose it?
About 1963. I used to wear fake vampire teeth for fun around the house. I picked these little vampire teeth up at the Halloween store one year.
Mm-hmm.
It was these two hollow fangs,
mm-hmm.
and then there was this strip of glue, but it was like this long strip of fabric, and you would cut the fabric, and you just got it wet. You put it down into the hollow tooth, and then you would just press it to your canine, and then after it sat there for a little bit, it would like stick to your tooth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not permanently by any means, but then I was just like, hell yeah. I just wore them around the house.
I mean, there are people who have permanently altered their teeth to be more vampire-ish.
I can't tell you that I don't think that's cool. Like, I think that's cool.
I don't know. Body modification is one of those things. Like, I go back and forth because I think for me, I don't want to do it. And so there's that part of me that's like, well, why don't I want to do it? That must mean I don't like it in some way. But then when I see other people do body modifications, I'm like, well, you're kind of awesome.
Right. And so same. But then like if I was to do it, I'd be like, no. I don't think it would.
Right.
At
it's
a
so
certain
weird.
time in my life, yes, I've passed that moment. I feel like after being a mom, I probably, and there's moms out there that do bod mods, and like, I mean, there's just really rad levels of people. But for me, like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe jeans and a t-shirt and some vampire teeth would be really great.
Kind of cool.
Could be.
Or like just or like horns. Like, you know, some
cosplay
like,
horns.
No, like where they use.
Yeah, no. Well,
what's different than?
No. That's not what I said.
Some
don't
like
want to.
some spine spikes.
No,
Aaron,
I don't want. That's too far for me. That hurts. Like talking about that hurts. I feel like people who do like the vampire teeth thing, like that's their thing.
Yeah.
I feel like they're also the ones who really know how to do like a winged eyeliner. They just have this special way of like doing. I struggle to put on makeup every day. So it would just be, I just got out of the shower. My hair's all crazy. No makeup, jeans, t-shirt, and vampire teeth. I just like going through the Sonic drive-thru.
Yeah.
Asking for tater tots and mustard.
Just with, casual vampire teeth. That's the best part. The best part of this idea is that the vampire teeth are the only thing that you've done. Yeah. Like not even like any major tattoos or anything. You just happen to have vampire teeth. No. That's all.
Oh my God.
Hey, could I get a egg toaster and some tater tots and maybe a pint of blood? I don't know.
I want a Route 44 unsweet tea with a splash of sweet tea, very little ice. Actually, no ice today. My teeth are sensitive.
You just have vampire teeth. Your hair's still a mess. You haven't really taken care of yourself for the day. You got on like sweatpants and just, but also vampire teeth.
I kind of want to do it now.
You want to talk about something serious?
No.
Okay. Too bad. No, I only say serious in that it's a deeper kind of conversation, but I've been thinking about it a lot because Elliot Page just said that he's transgender. And so it was one of those things that I think is really important because it's somebody in the public eye and the limelight. It was a beautifully written letter explaining his heart and what he's going through. And he said in the letter, and this is where I'm kind of getting to, that his preferred pronouns were he/them. Did you see this? Mm-hmm. And I hadn't really thought about it before, but is that a common idea for a transgender person to say, here are my preferred pronouns, he, she, or whatever, but then also them? Because I really like that. And the reason I like that is because I think the best way to degender our language completely is, or at least in not completely, but in regards to the way we address people, is to find a neutral word that we feel comfortable using. So the more people who use they, them as a way to say he, she, or whatever, I think the better off we're going to be long term, because then we have the tools not to assume gender ever. You know what I mean? Like that's, I don't know. I got thinking about it. I was like, should I then, would it be bad as me as, what would be typically thought of as a cis male, right? To say my pronouns are he, them. Would that be bad? Would I be indicating something about myself that would be untrue? Because I don't mind people calling me them, they. I think that's healthy.
I think if you were to do that, you would do what you always do, which is remain open to feedback. So if you found yourself stepping into something that's quote unquote not allowed, I'm not trying to co-opt anything. I'm not trying to co-opt a movement. I'm not trying to. I just want us all to feel more comfortable using non-gendered language, and I think that only happens with more and more people using them, they, in just starting to use it in my day-to-day language, and I have used it occasionally with people who don't identify as transgender or anything like that, and it still feels weird, and it definitely feels weird to them. Weird. So I do like the idea of making it more normalized. One of the places I hear it used is in my Not Another D&D podcast. The DM I think it was Caldwell Tanner. He was doing like a little game series in a world he created called Trinivale, and when he would introduce certain NPCs or whatever, he would refer to them as they, them. And at first I was like, what, did I hear that wrong? And then I was like, well, how many are there? Because he was referring to one person as they. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe there's more of them and I just didn't understand it. And it took me a while.
Because we know those words as plural words. We don't have a non-gendered singular word. We just don't.
Right. And so after a while I realized, oh my God, I know what's going on here. Like it did take me probably 6 months to just kind of not be, I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't
of course
unnerved by it. It was just, I was trying to, every time that he would say they, I was immediately in my imagination trying to figure out which character he was talking about. Like which person, because it's all in you're listening to a story. And so it could be any number of people that, so anyway, but I think now I would recommend listening to that because it's a good example of how to use those pronouns in an appropriate arena.
I was also thinking we don't have difficulty referring to singular corporations as they, them. And I think that is because we understand the plurality of it as being the group of people who form this, corporation.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is a little bit of a difference there when I talk about, McDonald's and what they do, that should feel just as comfortable to me as talking about Susan and what they do. You know what I mean? Like that's,
it's shifting the verbiage a little bit. I think that you could do it on your profiles if you wanted to and just see what happens. I mean, I know your intention.
I would be really nervous about that. I probably won't. I mean, I want to be an ally, but I also don't want to co-opt anything. I'm not trying to,
Right. But interesting chat.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question that's not at all serious?
No.
Oh. We could talk about Over the Moon.
So fun.
Yeah, it was a super cute one. I watched it with Iris after we talked about it on the show on the Morning DNA. And in the comments, it was popping up like, you should watch it with Iris. It's really good for Iris. I was like, okay, this is probably true. Let's just put it on. It's so bright and colorful. And I loved the music and what adorable creatures. And it's not too scary. And it was just really, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And the music is amazing. And the singers are incredible. And the imagery is like fascinating and cultural in ways that I wish. It's like, I'm like, man, I wish I had cool culture like that.
Yeah.
Mine's like, we like potatoes. I definitely almost cried again, but I shut it down so fast.
Good job.
I was really
Good job.
proud of myself. Thank you.
Man, that was so close.
Yeah, it was
You
close.
almost had emotions and stuff.
I know.
Oof.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
It was dangerous. I really liked too is they had like this whole like glowing, just how they made it glowing and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the spaceship starts to go fast and the little bunny thing starts to glow and then it like fizzles off or whatever. And then whenever the goddess turns into like her human form again, like she turns into this bright star almost. It's so pretty. I bet it looks amazing on your TV.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but thank you.
I'm sure it would.
Okay.